Hey guys, Somebody's Gun here. I get questioned a lot, how do I improve at Fortnite? It's a very general question, so we're going to go into some specific pieces and talk about each one, share what this helps you get better at, and hopefully complete a picture of what you guys should be doing to improve. So we're going to break this down into two pieces, both creative and then the regular battle royale. In creative, you have realistics, aim trainers, build fights, free building, and then on the other side you have arena and scrims in battle royale, and we're going to talk about each one specifically, get into how they help you improve and what you could be focusing on. First is going to be realistics. I personally like using the Finest practice hub. He's got a multitude of different realistic maps. You could do anything from 1v1, 2v2, 3v3. The 3v3 mode is really good because it helps you and your trio practice different things, but for this video just gonna stick with the 1v1, and here's what it looks like. The map code will be in the description as well, but you jump into it and you get randomly matchmaked with a person. I like realistics because it helps you get used to battling and fighting within Fortnite. You get used to timings, placing of walls, a little bit of the building grid, but also defensive and aggressive building, editing, and shooting. Particularly the new lever shotgun. I've played a lot of realistics to get used to that, and it puts a perfect combination of repeated fighting that's somewhat realistic to a scenario you may find yourself in game. It also challenges you, so sometimes you will find players that are better than you, other times you'll find players you beat, but the better players are going to teach you new things. You can learn new techniques that they throw at you during these battles, as well as, build your confidence and warm up when you're playing lesser players. Next, we have free building. A lot of people just use this to warm up, or when they're bored, they just go into their own creative and crank and crank and crank until the end. Now, I think it's much more helpful if you choose specific moves you want to do. So I've been trying to learn this wall up, side jump, and ramp, something I've been practicing. There's many examples of things you could do here, and when using free building, you can work on learning the building grid as well as different combinations of edits that you randomly put yourself into. I also tend to like to use this to practice my tunnels, whether it just be a regular tunnel, ramp tunnel, bizzle tunnel, or a tunnel with a ramp at your back. Either of them work. All I'm saying, use this to practice and get used to building. Next is the aim trainer. I like to use Skaavok by Dowozi. Here's the map. It's one of my personal favorites to use. You get into the map, there's a multitude of different scenarios that you could load into and practice with, and then it's really your personal preference as to what kind of aim training you like to do. There's modes with sitting targets, there's modes with moving targets, there's even some peaks and piece control practice. So get into the map, play around, use this to get better at your aim, because whether you're on controller, keyboard, and mouse, we could all definitely use slightly better aim. That was the creative piece, and that's painting a very general stroke. There's obviously a ton more maps out there that you could use. These are the ones that I personally like to use the most. Not only do I find them helpful to improve, but I also think they're fun to play. So now let's go on to the battle royale side, arena and scrims. Arena is the best way to get used to just playing the general royale style. You can practice your drops, you can practice early game and landing, get down a loot path, understand where the best materials at a POI that you're going to land at are, and it's really just practice. Arena, as much as it may be quote unquote a ranked game, it's really just practice to work on specific things. You could also use it to get used to fighting off spawn, as well as mid-game fights. As far as endgame, arena's not really gonna help you, because you're gonna be lucky if you see 20 people after the 4th zone, but it is useful in the things that it can be. It's random. A lot of players create random actions that aren't necessarily normal for a tournament environment, but getting used to that randomness is gonna help you. You'll have to deal with third parties, players making decisions that you don't quite understand yourself, storm pushes, and all of the above. That is one of the reasons why I like Arena. Also, it helps you get better at your time to kill. And the longer a time to kill is, the more likely other people are going to get involved in engagements. So trying to shorten your time to kill, especially practicing that in Arena, is going to be super helpful for you guys. Scrims are super helpful because they allow you to practice that end game. And in most tournament formats, the end game is where you get almost all of your points. This is where you're going to start securing placement, and you can even rack up eliminations if you understand how to get refreshes. But that's a whole different other topic that we won't go into today. Scrims allow you to play in stacked games which replicate tournament scenarios and give you not only the ability to play with some pressure on you because there's a lot of players, but also work on focusing specific pieces of your end game. So maybe you and your trio want to get better at playing together in the tarp. You can simulate that scenario, scrimmage, and jump into a scrim, work on getting and playing endgame together, and do this over and over again because scrims allow for that. Granted, not all of them are the best. Some scrims put you in poor situations, which don't necessarily allow you to practice the most stacked games, but for most cases, scrims are going to be better than arena mode, at least at practicing end games and getting a feel for what lobbies are like, because you kind of get some lag when you get stacked end games. So getting a feel for that before you jump into a tournament is going to be super helpful. It also gives you the opportunity to practice winning these stacked games, because a lot of players just go and try and play them, not necessarily with a purpose, but if you have specific things to work on, aka going for the win in these matches, that will help you be 10 times more effective and get better practice instead of just simply clicking play and jumping into another match. Hope this video was helpful for you guys. I know this is very basic, high level video covering how to improve. It's not super in depth and doesn't talk specifically about every single piece, but a lot of that's going to come down to you. Players have different needs, different strengths and weaknesses, and learning how to play to those is going to be very important to you. You have to understand yourself as a player. I can merely give you the tools. You have to then figure out, okay, here's the tools. How do I get to work? How am I going to take this information and turn myself into a better player? One of the best things to do, I always do it on a regular basis, is VOD reviewing. Gives you some insights as to yourself as a player, and then you can go back and create a plan as to how you want to improve. That's a lot of what I've done when I've worked with players, is watch them, understand, identify them as a player, and then create a plan based on their action. You don't need me to do it. You could do it yourself. Thank you guys for watching the video. I appreciate you. And if you enjoy the video, make sure to like and subscribe. My name is Somebody's Gun, and I'll see you guys next time.